to a very special morning with one of our very old, well, not old, but we've known him for a long time.
Yes, we're getting there.
Friends, colleagues, an all-around great dad, comedian, host. It's Tom Shillue.
Yay. All right, thank you. Wonderful. Great to be here.
Tom, how long has it been?
I mean, I don't know, a few years. Shortly after, how long after you guys were starting the Compound show did I come by the Compound? It was early on in the days.
It was very early on.
Yeah.
Boy, we can't thank enough for that. Yeah, and then also a longtime friend of Compound, Andrea Bryant.
Yes.
Got to thank her for all this.
Yeah, she put it
for
together.
setting this up.
Well, when I started, I wanted to restart my podcast. Like I did podcasting for a while, and then I can't get it together. I don't know if you guys have trouble doing this, but like actually just making the phone calls and being like, hey, meet me here and let's do this thing. It's like impossible for me to do. So I said, I got to restart the podcast because everybody's podcasting and you look like a dummy if you don't have a podcast. So I called Andrea and I'm like, can you produce my podcast? And she was like, I don't know how to produce a podcast. I think you do. I think you do. And she does.
Yeah. With her.
We don't know how to do a podcast. And yet we've been doing one for the past 7 years.
I don't know how to tie my shoes. I have Velcro.
But Tom, in the time that it's been, you have written a book.
Yep.
You are going on tour this summer, correct, with Gutfeld?
Yeah, I do shows with Gutfeld, and then I kind of supplement my own. I use the Gutfeld tour to promote my own shows in the smaller room. So me and Greg will play like a big theater, and say it's in Portland, and then I'll say to my booking agent, try to get my show in the city 8 weeks after the Gutfeld show. And then when I do the big theater, I say, who's coming to see me in 8 weeks? You know, that kind of thing. So that really works well.
That is smart.
That's what I do with Joanne. By the way, speaking of Joe, Tom, I don't need to remind you. She likes it when it's all about her. And I never really worked with her until Compound. We did not overlap. But I'm
Wait a minute. Wait. Is that's I have to believe you. I mean, you're you.
Yeah, no, she stole my job. She became Gutfeld's co-host.
Yeah. Bill and I did 2 episodes of Red Eye together.
I don't remember them.
Okay, 2 episodes. So that's an overlap, Bill. That's an overlap.
I don't remember her on there, and I love reminding her of that. I have zero memory of that. And it's too long a story to get into about how we found each other. It was via Twitter, actually. But, well, I will put you on the spot. Any memory that sticks out on working with Joe, but as you know, I would prefer it to be an embarrassing memory for Joanne. Something that doesn't make Joanne look, how do I say it, good.
I mean,
an odd thing to ask.
I don't think that we need to hear your editing. So anyway,
I mean, no, we had great. I mean, working with Joanne was great. Yes. So maybe if we end up, talking here, I might, it might jar my memory or something. But I don't think Joanne had any awkward moments on the show. Did you?
I've actually, unfortunately, I'm kind of a fan of hers. And I remember seeing a couple times when I would constantly scroll the YouTubes to find embarrassing things about Joe. There was one you guys did. You can jog the memory on this a little bit. But it was you and Kat. And Kat was trying to make you become more empowered or something, and Shillue was in it, and you yelled at him and scared him.
Yeah.
I forget that
one. It
one.
was a millennial moment. They were fun little skits that we would write and do, and this subject was about offensive things millennials find offensive, and just getting triggered by all these little things. And so, Tom Shillue, being the tall white man that he is,
and devastatingly handsome,
highly offensive to millennials.
Hey, Kat, Joanne, have a nice day.
What the did you say to me? Did you just tell me to have a nice day? That's bull. Okay, no. You want to mansplain to me how to have a nice day, how to live my life? You with your white privilege, you would never understand what it's like to be me in this world and having a very nice day. Oh, no. You and your barber shopping. You probably pay your taxes on time. It's just completely awful. I mean, as a woman, I cannot believe that you would just let your privilege just suffocate me. I'm suffocating.
That was That was a fun bit. But no, I would say, yeah, some of the best times that I had during that tenure was getting to do those like fun little skits and sketches with people. You were always a really good trooper about that. So
yeah, those were fun. I love doing, and it was something we were able to do when Greg had the weekly show. It was more like we had more time to go shoot something, and now they don't have as much time. But I love going out and shooting the goofy things on the street, and everyone's just staring at you, and it's super low budget. That's what I love about it, is that it's like, you know, it kind of like YouTubers now have better production values than us when we're shooting for a professional show. So I like that idea because it looks like it's thrown together, and then, you know, it's only up from there. You grade us on a curve.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Set the bar really low.
Yeah.
And people can only be impressed.
Well, and I remember there was like one, and it was when you were hosting Red Eye, but I'm very proud of myself where I was able to attain a screen grab of Joanne clearly staring at Mike Baker's crotch. We ran that way more than once on the old Mornin. Yeah.
No, here's what it was. There was a monitor that was right below his waist.
I don't know if that's a TV thing.
And I was looking at the monitor.
Okay. All right. Well, I wasn't there, so I'll just trust you.
I know. It does sound I don't know what waist. I've never encountered any waist-high monitors.
Thank you.
Oh, see, you just have to ask the crew for one, and they'll give it to you.
By the way, you do realize, Tom, she's editing that part out. You not encountering the waist monitor, that's gone. Gone. Absolutely gone. She edits, so I have no power over this.
But anyways, very, very good times. We, over the years, have really enjoyed having like old Red Eye people come on to promote whatever they're doing. We recently had our first guest on the YouTube version of this podcast. We had John DeVore on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because he just wrote a great book about theater kids. I actually really think you would like it. And so, yeah, for him to promote that, it was really nice to catch up. He said he always enjoyed doing these shows because of the makeup.
Yeah, you get in makeup, get looking great, and then we go out for drinks afterwards, and the guys, they don't feel very masculine because they have foundation on their face.
For sure. Or they make a big show with the makeup wipe, removing it. Like, I can't have this on my skin for a second longer.
Well, I would always, and you don't need to confirm or deny, but I would always say that whenever we would have like dude anchors on Red Eye, never take the makeup off. Whenever we go to Lannon's, the makeup would still be on.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what's the guy there? The movie Anchorman. What's his name?
Oh, sure. Burgundy.
Ron Burgundy.
Ron Burgundy. It's like having that Ron Burgundy look when you're out for dinner. But I was often that guy, and I'll tell you why. I don't like those harsh wipes. Even the makeup artists, they have what they think are more mild wipes. I mean, you'll have guys, Red Eye guys, whatever, like Rob Long. He just takes the cleanup wipes, like the Lysol wipes that are meant to like clean up your dashboard of your car, and he wipes his face with it. And I'm like, Rob, you can't do that. It's harsh on your skin. And he's like, I'm a guy. What do I care about my skin? And I'm like, I don't touch any of those wipes. I come home, I use my wife's makeup removing oil, and I put it all over my face. And then you have a warm towel, take it off, and then I moisturize.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
this is why I look like Don Imus.
Exactly. That's why Tom's skin looks like that, and yours looks like this.
I saw Rob Long recently. He was at a Reason event. He has really explored all things psychedelics. Half of the talk, it was Nick Gillespie interviewing him, and it was great to see him again. But he really likes the mushrooms. He is into the ayahuasca now. He is not against the acid. And this was a whole new Rob Long that I was very surprised by.
Yeah, is he micro dosing, or is he just regular old dosing?
I mean, he says micro, but the amount that he's using, I'm not good with math. It turns into a macro.
Yeah,
it's less a micro. But he was very for that, for obviously like helping therapy reasons, all that stuff. But it was good to see him. It was a great Nick Gillespie interview.
Now, just to be clear, because I'm seeing a lot of, I see ads in my feed, like the mushroom movement is very big now, but there's also like use mushroom-based coffee in the morning. That's not the same as the psychedelics, right?
No, that's just like eating
it's not
a mushroom cap.
Yeah, that's a portobello mushroom versus the funky kind.
You know, every time I think maybe I should try drugs, I have little reminders as to why I shouldn't. For example, yesterday I had to go to the dentist because I have an old chipped molar and the bonding came out. They just needed to refill it. And the dentist goes, I'm going to give you some dental anesthetic. Have you had it before? And I'm like, I've had wisdom teeth out. Like, I'm good. So he injects me with this anesthetic. And then 2 minutes later, I am feeling real weird, like really woozy, lightheaded. And I realize I'm going to pass out.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting, but the dentist has left. The assistant is nearby. And I turn and I'm like, hey, could you lay me down real quick? Because I think I might pass out. This happens to me sometimes with invasive stuff. But it's moments like that. I was fine. But I realized I think I would just freak out if I were to even microdose.
What kind? Did they shoot it in with a needle or
Yes, with a needle. In my
yeah.
cheek, and he did this weird like rubbing thing, I guess, to get it all in there, and half of my tongue was numb, and it was
it gives you like Bell's palsy, right? Half your face goes
a little bit,
a
little
like
bit.
Botox.
I was drooling.
No, last time I'm not going to do that anymore, because last time I asked for it because my teeth are sensitive, and the guy was like, I'll give you the good stuff, and I said, yeah, give me the good stuff, and he did, and then I really had like kind of face paralysis for like 4 days.
4 days?
Yeah. It wouldn't go away. And I went back to the dentist and he said, this sometimes happens. Don't worry about it. It'll come back. And, you know, it was like it happens a lot to people. It's like the Bell's palsy, you know, people got it, you know, they get it all the time.
The answer to that is just, it happens to a lot of people, and not what can we do to prevent this from happening to a lot of people?
Yeah. Well, as I said in our pre-show, guys, we're very professional. I explained, in case we didn't do it when you were on, our What's in the Box segment. I have a brief one for Joe, and then I will get your comments on said present. Let's see if you can figure. Don't worry, it's something you have to really open, but it's in a bag. Let's see if you can figure it out before you actually open it, just by your Helen Keller attempts at feeling it and seeing what it is.
Okay, great. Here's our What's in the Box segment.
Who's in the box? Oh, what's in the box? What's in the fucking box? No!
So feel it first and see if you can figure it out.
I know what this is.
Oh, shoot.
I know what this is, and I don't want it.
I don't care. I don't want it in my place, and I took it at the last.
Then why did you take it?
Because it's ours, and I bought it for you.
I never asked for it in the first place. Oh, God. Shillue, it's this cat figurine that holds a bottle.
Well, here, let me show you the bottle. You got that too.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty
there
good.
we go. That is a very drunk kitty.
Yeah. That's great.
This is going in the trash. Or, I'll put it in my building's little lobby.
Please don't throw it away. It was a heavy backpack to bring this over here.
I'll have a sign that says free.
And then
you know what you can do? Joanne, I got an idea.
Yeah.
Next time, you know, when you go to somebody's dinner party, you bring a bottle of wine. Bring the wine in that.
Honestly,
Fun.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Honestly, that just saved my day. This is turning my day around. Thank you. That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Will do.
And whenever we would have a guest that would say something that perhaps might involve a lawsuit for us, we also had a button, and I grabbed that for you. And when I took this out of compound on, I don't know, I think it was like the last day when everyone was gone, it was in my backpack, and something kept hitting it, and I heard this all the way back home. But here you go. Allegedly. So she would hit that whenever someone would say something scurrilous. But it's all yours, baby. You're welcome.
Okay, so if it's mine, I can put it in my trash. Hey, speaking of trash, great segue.
Is it?
Great segue.
Yes. Other people are supposed to say that.
Well, first, this is, Tom, I don't know if you saw John Mulaney's Everyone's in LA.
No.
No.
That's a special?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw Mulaney this weekend, this holiday weekend.
Just in passing, you were at a party?
I was at a party.
Oh, man, I want your life.
Okay, was this in LA? Was this here? Where were you?
It was at Gaffigan's house.
Awesome.
Gaffigan's house in New York, upstate New York, not even upstate, just wherever, like north and Westchester. And apparently Mulaney lives there too. Like he's a neighbor of Gaffigan's, so he just came over.
He isn't even in LA.
Well, then this makes our segment not make sense. It's called Nobody's in New York.
Yeah.
And we have a graphic.
Which is kind of true.
So apparently John Mulaney is in New York. That's very funny. But you know who is in New York also? A whole bunch of rats. In fact, I think it's 3 million rodents were in New York City in 2023. So famously, Mayor Adams appointed a rat czar last, given her a budget of $1 million, something outrageous. And they're trying to figure out how to get these rats off the street. So, brilliant idea. I might throw in a little video too. Just the other day, Mayor Adams unveiled a, what do you call it? Garbage tank?
Like a wheelie garbage.
A wheelie garbage.
Yeah.
I am the
problem. Now you sound actual.
A bin. Oh my God, it's called a bin.
Yeah. Wheelie bin.
A wheelie bin. It is the first ever official New York City bin, symbolizing the city's move to eliminate ubiquitous black trash bags from the streets. And God, I love people on social media. They're really letting Mayor Adams have it. Adorable how New York City has finally come around to trash cans, tweeted Julie Bykowiz. I don't know her name. The New York fellas wrote, New York City is acting like they just cured cancer by asking people to put trash in trash cans. Okay, now for people who do not live in New York City, they probably nobody's in New York. Yeah. They probably don't know that for decades we have just been putting black trash bags on the street. I've worked in restaurants pretty much my whole time here. At the end of the night, I take the trash, you just throw it on the street, and then you step over the rats as you're walking home. We never put them in bins. So I understand that people who've never lived here wouldn't know that.
Well, and also other people, this is why you will always know if a movie based in New York is not in New York and rather like Vancouver or Toronto or something. If you see an alley, there's no alleys.
Yeah, you're right.
One or two, but in other proper urban areas, people put the trash in the alley. I feel bad for the garbage men because they have to get out of the truck, go into the alley to grab the garbage, but it makes for a more pleasant overall street scene when you don't have to do this every other day. We have no alleys.
Why is that?
It's interesting. Too much.
Oh, it's just the space, because even the old cities like Philly and Boston, they have alleys.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Tom, what is your take on the trash bins and just Mayor Adams in general?
Well, he got roasted by people, but they said he was trolled. This is what drives me crazy. I think we've forgotten what trolling is. So all over the internet, it said Mayor Adams relentlessly trolled over his thing. Nobody was trolling him. He did something and people reacted. Trolling, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think trolling is you're the instigator. When you're trolling, you're trying to get a reaction. You're the one. He was the one looking for a reaction. So he came out with that stupid rolly thing. It's tiny. It was tiny and skinny. And he rolled it out and he acted like he was, you remember when George H.W. Bush had that, the scanner? This is back. Joanne doesn't remember this, but he was acting like a grocery scanner was an amazing new invention.
Yes.
And everyone said, oh, he's totally out of touch. The guy's never been to a grocery store because he's George H.W. Bush. So they all made fun of him. And this was a similar thing where Mayor Adams was acting like he was introducing us to something amazing, a rolly trash bin, right?
They have them on luggage too, Mayor Adams.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was it. When we had to write jokes for the show, one of the jokes I submitted was, Mayor Adams was seen introducing his rolly bin as if it was a new invention. And then I said we tried to reach him for comment, but he was acting as a pallbearer at a funeral, and then we were cut to the video of that famous guy dragging the coffin through the Bronx. You know that one I'm talking about?
I'm just marrying the joke with the video.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I knew they wouldn't do it. That would be like a compound kind of joke, because it's just a video of a black guy dragging a coffin, and you know, it's just like, it doesn't look like Mayor Adams.
Well, and I don't want to get too inside baseball, but one thing that what I missed from FNC was, of course, the healthcare and the better salary. But the one nice thing about Compound, and I don't even know if this really works, but the fact that we were on what they would tell us, the fact that we were on a subscriber paywall thing, we did not have to contact anyone about whatever video we used.
Yeah.
If we wanted it, we could do it. That always sounded legally suspect to me. But you remember, you know how many hurdles you have to go through in News Corp to do anything. We didn't have that problem. And I got spoiled for that, frankly. But I mean, songs, we could use any music we wanted.
Well, it's amazing. When I tell people about how much money if someone has a video clip of them falling off a skateboard, right? And we use it on the show just as a gag, like, oh, here's Mayor de Blasio trying to skateboard, and then someone's falling off a skateboard, right? It's just this quick visual gag. We have to pay something like $800 to this video leasing company just for the few seconds, and then they take probably half, the leasing company, and then the video guy gets half. So when you see those videos, like whatever it is, if you running gags that people use on shows and things like that, though, they can make a heck of a lot of money with those things.
Yes.
How do I work for a video leasing company? This sounds like an easy money grab.
I love that you're asking us that.
Yeah.
I know. Well, that's what they do. And then they have armies of interns calling the people, because they have to get first bids on these things. If somebody has a crazy video of a dog, with roller skates on, they want that video. So like Jukin Video or something, they call them, they make a deal with them, and then they own the video, and and then they'll sue you if you play that dog on your show. They're not going to come after Compound. They're going to come after the big media companies.
Yes. That's also, I think, why we got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot more of that. But no, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. So Mayor Adams, this is not going to work, because if you have I don't know if you have a picture of this thing, but it's so skinny.
Yes.
And restaurants, Joanne, they have like 45 bags of trash every night. They're not going to, and one of those bags is not going to fit in the bin, because the bin only really fits half a bag because it's so skinny. So they're not going to have 90 of these things outside their restaurant. They're just going to keep throwing the big pile of trash out there.
Yeah. And I'm not sure where I read it, but I believe that bin is like $50. Now, the restaurant I work at has 3 bins that are double that size. So like it's going to cost small businesses a lot of money. And I think you can like rent them from the city, and it's so expensive. It's just like, it's another cost that adds up. And it's, who is it serving? I guess, people walking on the sidewalk, but it's just like, it just feels like another money grab. It just feels like another way to, I don't know, hurt small businesses.
Yeah. And then they're going to charge, people will continue to put the trash out in bags because they don't have the space, or and then they're going to get fined. The city will give them tickets.
Yep.
Well, and I'm almost saying too much here. The one upside to all of the horrible ways we've described trash night at New York City, i.e. the night before the Christmas Eve, before the Christmas of the trash being lifted, is that in very rich neighborhoods, you can inevitably find something really awesome out in the streets that they can't be bothered with, but it'll be like a nice mahogany desk. God forbid there's bed bugs in it. Yeah. But like, you can get some real good finds on trash night. Trash day, it's nothing but cats.
A cat clutching a bottle.
I don't know if you've ever seen, there's a TikTok, there's an account where this girl just goes through trash in New York City.
Oh, it's great.
Just to shed light on all the things people throw away that could be donated or could be used. And one of the biggest days is Columbia Move Out Day, or NYU Move Out Day, because these college kids just throw out.
Like
wrapped good food,
Oh, yeah.
DVDs, like just so much stuff. But I mean, once you have bed bugs once, you will never go through trash. Like you will never I want to experience a similar trauma again. So you just avoid it.
Because of you, I rarely do it unless it's a very nice lamp. I don't think bed bugs go on lamps. I have one in my place.
They can go on anything though.
Speaking of going on anything, now I want you to take notes. This is how you do a segue.
You haven't said what it is yet. I don't even know if it's
it's the Politics of Dating survey. You guys, here's how Dems, I believe that's cool speak for Democrats, and Republicans or Repubs view sex. So it's a new study of nearly 1,000 Americans. What is it normally?
It's usually 2,000.
Thank you. Showed 65% of Trump supporters expected sex on the first date, while only 58% of Biden backers want an introductory romp. If you have any questions, of course, yes, this did come from the Post. The poll conducted by California-based wellness research company, is there any other kind, Inner Body, also found 57% of Republicans wanted intercourse right away, while 52% of Democrats were equally randy. 6 out of 10 non-Democrats would break up with their partner if they were to vote for Joe Biden. The study of 972 people found, I guess that's a different study. And then they have a quote: if I'm on a dating app and I see that you're a liberal, we're not going to vibe because I'm going to say a comment that you don't like and we're not going to have the same values, said Rachel Green, 30. Finally, out of the survey respondents, 61% said different political views would be a deal breaker. Tom, your thoughts?
I'm going to start backwards, with the last comment about the values. I think that a lot of it is false, especially when it comes to women. I always found, now I was a conservative young man back when I was single and I was on the hunt for women. I would always get into political. I was unafraid because a lot of guys, they try to be, kind of a liberal, touchy-feely guy and then get the girls that way.
Yes.
I would do the opposite. I would just, I loved getting in arguments with them, being a right-wing nut. And these liberal gals would be, they'd be offended. Oh, you're a jerk, male chauvinist, all this other stuff. But then, I'd buy them a drink and then we'd talk more. And then they say, let's continue this conversation somewhere else. And we'd go to another place, And I found it to be very successful, that women loved a guy who was, opposing them in that way.
Oh,
or they just want a guy who reminds them of their dad.
That's it. Exactly.
Whatever works.
Yes, yeah. I know. So I'd be like, yes, we'll go to, so I grabbed my briefcase and we went to the next bar. But yeah.
You were like 17 with
yes.
a briefcase. Stolen from your dad.
Yeah. But I think that it's a little bit overstated. They'll tell a survey one thing, but in life, it's a different practice. I think I looked at this study, but it wasn't clear. Maybe I didn't see the fine print. They must have been talking to guys, right? About the 65% expect sex on the first date, right?
Yeah, they were not
didn't specify. Yeah,
they didn't. Okay,
because they wanted it to be reposted, and were they to just say, "Yeah, it was mostly dudes," then that's not as much news. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think it's too high. People could call me prudish or something like that, but I just think that women have to set and it's really, sorry to put the burden on women, but that's where it is. Women have to be, they have to price themselves up in the market. And I think this idea that people expect sex on a first date it's a terrible idea. Nobody else. I was thinking about this the other day. The work people go through to get a job, they'll go to 4 job interviews. Young people are very happy waiting for something if they know there is going to be, something down the road that they can look forward to, or that there'll be reward at the end of the process. So women could hold out. I'm talking about like more than the first date. I'm talking about like, 6 months or something. Or, if you want to go and be like, no, we don't have sex. We wait for marriage, guys are going to respect that boundary and they're going to work hard. So I think look at it just in terms of, even if you want to take it easy and you want to say like, okay, look, I'm not going to be like this, young virgin in the city or something. But how about this? Make them work as hard for you as a woman as they do to get a job or to get into a college.
You know what? Jane, you ignorant slut. I could not disagree. I could not disagree more. And also, I'm not just saying this because I'm the only single person here. So you're really hurting my issues right now. But
going along with your logic, though, or your analogy of the job interviews. So let's say me as a woman, I am a job that a guy is interviewing for, but he's also going to 3 other interviews?
Yeah, you're right.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Not bad.
And also with this, the study, the expectation of sex on the first date does not, in fact, say having sex on the first date. So I do think it is highly likely that it was mostly men who answered this survey, because don't all men want to have sex on the first date?
I think there's a huge difference between expecting and wanting.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, but I think that's why it was probably a little bit of editing embellishment for the post to say expecting, because I think it's, guys want sex on the first date. And also, like, and again, this is again where I will disagree with Tom, because like, I think it is a complete misnomer for women. I always thought this was hilarious, that women, and it's this you go girl culture. And it's not you, girl. It's them.
Explain my culture to me.
I'm going to mansplain to you that women are like, it's got to be at least 3 days. It's got to be a week. Guys don't care. Really straight from my generation on down. We don't look down at you if you had sex on the first date. If anything, we look down at you if you wait too long. If we like you, we like you. And if we have sex on the first date, wonderful. The love of my life. Earmuffs, effed on the first date. Dated her for 5 years. Off and on even longer than that. That has nothing to do with anything. If sex happens, that's great. But if the guy doesn't call you back, it's not because you had sex with him too early. It's because he didn't want to call you back.
Because you were a bad lay.
Well, women don't need to necessarily be a bad lay.
What?
Guys are in trouble if we're a bad lay. Women don't have to do much. But especially hot women, let's face it. But no, I completely disagree with. I think that there is an older generation, and you and I are essentially basically the same age. But like, I think that there's like 67 guys that are like, if she doesn't do early, then she's a little loose. That's out the window. And girls can play these little games all they want. It's got to be 3 days. It's got to be this. Otherwise he won't call you back. If he doesn't call you back, it's because you sucked. And not necessarily in bed, but you were just not that fun to hang out with. Period. We're not that complicated.
Why don't you write a novel about it?
You're going to edit all this out.
No, I do agree with Tom to some degree about women sort of knowing their worth and
you're not worth that much.
What did you say? You're up in the market. What did you call it?
Yeah, you gotta increase your value in the marketplace.
Yes, and I think women need to think every time I have sex, it increases my chances of getting HPV, which in some cases takes so long to clear, and you keep having to go to the doctor. And it's totally, it doesn't hurt.
Everyone's got, you know what?
Like much like
symptoms, but you know what? Like, you know how everyone's in LA? Everyone's got HPV, honey. You don't need to worry about it.
But it's just like, you look at a guy and you got to think, is he worth the $250 I got to put down at the doctor's office?
Ladies,
to get a screening for cervical cancer? I don't know.
Yeah, I think, and even I think that like Bill was saying, there are women and men, there are couples, and you can say, oh no, we met, we had sex on our first date, we're married, we have a great family, that happens for sure. But I think there is a deep psychological thing in guys, and other things that you can get on demand. Think of all the things that guys can get on demand, and then think of the things that they have to wait for. Psychologically, they will put a woman in the category, in that on-demand category, and it's deep within them that men who are made to wait for something, they're going to think that thing has higher value.
Sure.
Maybe younger guys. I'm 48.
You know what? People
I don't have
wait.
time on my hands.
People wait so long in line for roller coasters that I'm like shocked. It'll say before they even get in line. I don't know. I was just thinking about waiting before they even get in line for a thrill ride.
Yeah.
It'll be an hour and a half wait, and they're like, "I'm in the theme park. I might as well wait."
Yep.
What? Really? For a 5-minute thrill? This is a great analogy.
It is.
So
it
you're
really
comparing yourself to the Rock and Roller Coaster hosted by Aerosmith at Disney World.
That's even shorter than 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know, because when you think of these rides, they are, it's a momentary thrill. It's a great analogy, and people are, but the better parks. If you go to Six Flags, if you go to Disney, it's a longer wait, and somehow you think it's worth it, but it's the same dumb ride. But if you go to Coney Island, you're like, I am not waiting 90 minutes to go on the Cyclone.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat a hot dog instead.
You're adding more kind of
different analogy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's going to be horrible. Wait for it. Shillue, it's going to be terrible. She does not do segues. To the point where I don't know why you haven't given up.
From relish to relish.
What?
It's an apology. Some people relish in that.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
What? No.
You don't have to give it to me.
You are awful.
We do have something called the Apology Tour. It is a graphic that we're putting up now where we are game pieces in the game Sorry.
Yes. It's as simple as that.
Anyways, is forgiveness overrated? Apparently, a New York reporter seems to think so. This is from Psychology Today.
Oh, our old friend.
Recently, the New York Times published an article with the intriguing title, "Sometimes Forgiveness is Overrated." We do a disservice to those who want to practice forgiveness if we lower the bar of what the essence is, saying that all you have to do is reduce a little anger and presto, you have forgiven. The point in the essay is that people need time to heal and to feel their emotions. It is as if forgiveness short circuits a time for anger and mourning. They say that's not the case. To cut out the process of examining anger and then label forgiveness as potentially harmful is to miss an important point that forgiveness is not reductionistic. It does not ignore this initial aspect of exploring emotions and taking the time to do so. Forgiveness itself, that is overrated, but instead is people's misunderstanding of what forgiveness is and how to go about it for oneself, or when thinking that forgiveness may be good for others. People need to be gentle in their advice toward others, as importantly implied in the New York Times essay. Forgiveness as what is that word?
Did you get LASIK? You have terrible eyes. How do you read that? The font is really small.
Is the choice of the forgiver, which contradicts a blanket forgiveness industry that insists on it.
I'm impressed. How did you read that?
I'm nearsighted, not farsighted. Anyways,
I got a question for Bill, because I didn't really understand the reductionist comment, but you kind of like rolled your eyes at it. What is that?
I hate words like reductionist.
Yeah, because it didn't help. It didn't make anything clearer for me. It seems like some psychological term.
Really the nutshell is essentially that Psychology Today did not like the fact that the New York Times op-ed person was like, F forgiveness. But I'm very on the fence about this because, I don't know. I like not forgiving people. But then in the other sense, we live in a society of cancel culture where we don't forgive enough. You could make that argument. So I don't even know where my head is on this.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of that in the cancel culture thing. You're right.
Yeah. Because we destroy careers, although you could also argue that most people end up not being as destroyed as they initially are.
But and a part of the cancel culture idea is when does someone deserve forgiveness? And I don't think that you can quantify forgiveness. Forgiveness should be a blanket thing. If someone does wrong, then you should forgive, or so Psychology Today thinks. Whereas with cancel culture, someone discovers an old tweet from 10 years ago.
Yes.
That person then says, "I'm so sorry, I'm a different person now." And the public goes, "Not good enough.
Yeah.
You're not forgiven." Okay, so then when?
By the way, Tom, how great was her impression of the overall public? That was impressive. What accent were you summoning there?
It was the internet accent.
Well, I think that goes in line with my thing about forgiveness is that I don't think that it is overrated, and I don't know if that was a good word to use. I think that it's an oversupply. So people are, and that's the way they described it. They're saying people are willy-nilly handing out forgiveness too much, and I think that's true. So forgiveness, my rules about forgiveness are basically there's two things that have to happen. One is it has to be sought. So the person that wants to be forgiven has to come seeking forgiveness, and then they have to do a penance, whether it's to make up for what they did or to demonstrate contrition, and they want to seek it. So the person should know that they want the forgiveness, and they should ask for it, and they should do something for it. Also, the thing about forgiveness is it can't be given by someone who wasn't affected by the behavior.
Yes.
So, if somebody, I can't remember, it used to bother me. Yeah. So people would say after Columbine, there was these Christian leaders coming out, and also people from the town, different, students or whatever, coming out saying, we forgive you, because this idea, it's like this Christian value of forgiveness. We forgive you, but you can't jump to forgiveness if you're not the one who's offended. The people who were killed in Columbine, they're dead now. Okay. They're the only ones who can really forgive, because, that's why murder is an unforgivable sin, because you've eliminated the person who can forgive you. So no blanket forgiveness by a third party. And that's what it kind of comes into the cancel culture thing. When you cancel someone, you're like a third party looking outwardly and saying, like, we as a people, we judge you. But really there's two people. So if you have someone, take, like Kramer, remember, Michael Richards.
Yeah.
Okay. It was driving me crazy. I was saying Michael Richards was coming out and he was apologizing to all of America, but really he owed apologies to the guys in that comedy club that he used a racial slur against. He didn't owe an apology to me. He didn't be going begging for my forgiveness. You know who probably should have apologized to me? The people who were judging him playing that video over and over again. Because Michael Richards didn't expose me to his profanity. The media did, and TMZ and these other people were relentlessly playing it. So the media, you owe me an apology. Michael Richards, find those guys and apologize. So just, you got to know who you're apologizing to.
Yeah, forgiveness for me, I don't know that I really forgive people, but I write people off. They're just dead to me.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's just as healthy as forgiveness, because I've let
You're a sociopath.
No, I've let it go. It's this idea of, like, you have shown me your true colors and your character. I don't vibe with it. I don't take it personally, because I'm going to remove you from my personal space. Because I don't like it. I don't like what I see or what I experienced. So you're dead to me. I'll be civil to you if I see you, but I'm not going to waste my time and emotions and energy on holding a grudge or feeling resentful, because then you still have power over me, and I don't like that.
See, Shillue, I got this way more for her than you or I, where even though you had an amazing and very thought-provoking answer, for me personally, I just wanted to further expose America to what an absolute sociopathic, awful human being she is. So that was sort of my goal, my journey.
How is that awful? All I'm saying is...
It's not awful, but it's very you.
Cross me and you won't be dead to me.
It's very you. But I always assume there's two sides to every story. So I wonder how many of these people that are dead to you, like, made you wait too long in a line in a deli.
I want to know what Bill's problem with Joanne's approach is, though, because she's cut the toxic people out of her life, essentially, right? Yeah. And I heard from her, she said, be nice, be polite. So I'm assuming if they come over, or say even if it's a relative or an in-law or something, when she goes to Thanksgiving, she's being nice to them. Yeah. She's going to say, pass the potatoes, but she's just not going to waste any energy on someone that's having a bad effect on her. Yep. So, Bill, you like to invite these people into your life?
Well, let's go back to the wasting the energy thing. Mm-hmm. That's a bigger part of her being super lazy and that she doesn't really want to waste energy on anything, much less getting off the couch.
This avoidance about talking about yourself is really telling.
I am very forgiving. There are certain people that I've thought, okay, let me ask you this. I've thought about this recently. I think maybe because when I found the article, I have realized recently that people that I thought I've forgiven, I still have so much deep-seated anger towards them that I'm like, have I forgiven them? Like, because the whole part of forgiveness, that's the cliche, you're doing it for yourself more than them. Yeah. It's like you're sort of like, putting that, whatever it is, off your shoulders by forgiving them. And so when I still think about, well, I'm thinking of like a former roommate that may or may not, let's say, not even say may not, absolutely stole from me. I would get so angry thinking about this that it just took years off my life. And I was like, I forgive him. I know he had a rough childhood, all that stuff. And yet, still kind of want him to get run over by a bus. And so have I forgiven him? And does it even matter? I don't know. That's a lot. So there you go. I'm answering your question.
Yeah, I think that there are certain people, again, the forgiveness, there should be a line. They should be people that you care about. You don't need to forgive somebody who, say you're in a feud with somebody on the local school board. You never have to forgive them if they, you basically have a détente. It's kind of like Israel and Palestine. There's no need to forgive people. You just have a treaty. You can have a peace, and you say, look, our guns are loaded. We now trust that you are not going to invade us any longer. But if you do, we're going to shoot you. So there's no forgiveness there. It's like eternal vigilance.
Mm. And I like the idea of only forgiving the people close to you, which explains why I don't really forgive. I just cut people out because I don't really have anyone that close to me.
You don't like people. That's been established.
Yeah.
You are a rock and an island.
God, I would love to be alone on a rock island.
It's almost a title of a song.
Really? Like a rock island?
Garfunkel.
Not even a beachy island, like a nice sandy island?
Well, but look at her.
That's sand.
It's all
everywhere, Tom. God.
She wants sharp little rocks. It goes to her whole ice queen.
Acupressure. It's nice. It's nice.
Yeah, I think I would do. I do have fantasies about being off alone. I think I could lead a monastic life. Like without any talking, in prayer and contemplation. I also think of like, I love the, what's that Tom Hanks movie where he has the soccer ball. Yeah.
Oh, watch it at least once a year.
Yeah. And it's just, it seems like, when you watch that, it's an idea of like, he's cast away and then he can't wait till he gets saved. But looking at the two lives, the castaway life seems so much richer.
Yeah.
Although that island was not that big. You need some extrasensory stimulation after a while. But I'll tell you something. As one who relatively does live a monastic lifestyle, and oftentimes can go a week without really talking to people aside from her, and she loves it. She loves catching up with me, Shop. But I'll tell you one thing that's very accurate about that movie. Where you get to the point where you start talking to inanimate objects.
Yeah.
I've had some very deep conversations with my lamp.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I just actually I solidified some dates, but they're not even up on my website yet. But people can just go to tomshillue.com. I'll probably have the first dates coming up, and I'm also on Locals. So I have my own little Locals club, which is a lot of fun. It's just tom.locals.com, and people join that, but you don't have to join. You can kind of just sign up, and then once a month I'll do a video just for the members only.